Hello folks, 2023 was a great year for me for touring. I managed to get 3 tours in that time. The first one went to Europe in June 2023 where I had almost 2 weeks on the continent. The second one, I went to Shetland in August, which was a very different experience. Lots of single track roads, lots of beautiful scenery, very quiet. And then the third one I went to Orkney in October, and once again it was a very, very different experience, as you can possibly see there from the rain. So all in all, a really great year. I did a lessons learned earlier on after the Switzerland and Shetland tour, and I'd just like to follow up with a bit of an epilogue here and just following my October one and some of the changes that I thought I would do, and I just share how we get on with them. The areas I want to cover off is getting to Europe and ferries in particular, about the bikes that I used, the tour prep that I did, sat-nav, waterproofs, the video output and luggage. Let's have a chat about that. Ferries and getting to Europe. When I went to Europe, I left from Newcastle and I arrived in Amsterdam. I left about 5 p.m. in the UK and arrived about 9:30 a.m. in Amsterdam. It was quite a long journey, quite boring. Wasn't much more to do than go and sit in the bars and have a drink, and I wanted a clear mind for the start the next day, so I didn't bother drinking any, and quite pleased that I didn't drink anything, because the border guards were going and testing just about every other car or bike with a breathalyzer, so let that be a lesson and something to be wary of if you like a couple of drinks through the night. Make sure it's all out your system, or you could well be getting yourself in a bit of bother. Now the ferry itself, like I say, it was quite long, so going forward, if I go to Europe in 2024, which I'm hoping to do, then I'm considering going down to Hull, because it doesn't leave to 8:30 and it gets there about 9 o'clock in the morning, so that's about 4 or 5 hours knocked off, and it's really an extra couple of hours on the bike to get down to Hull, and it's also a little bit cheaper, I think, or it was the last time I looked. So getting to Europe is one of these things where it's a balance between do a ride to Newcastle or do go to Hull. I did consider going down to the Channel Tunnel, but that is an awful long way and it will involve an overnight. So that's one of the things that I'm pondering at the moment. But I would like a shorter journey, so at least if I went on the Hull ferry, I would be in my kit pretty quick, and the night would be over. Now the other ferries were UK, local UK. Once again, the Aberdeen one was quite a long one. Left about 5 o'clock, got there about 7 in the morning if I remember right. Just far too long again, but it's the only way you can do it to get to Shetland in a vehicle. Orkney was a different, it's only an hour and a half across from Scrabster, and that was absolutely fine. The only problem is, one of the things that you need to be aware of is about delays or actual cancellations, which happened to me in Orkney. No big deal, stayed an extra night, was able to get a room in the hotel, because if I'm not going off the island, no one's coming on. So that's the ferries for you. All in all, reasonably pleasant and quite happy about that. I toured on 2 motorbikes this year. One of them was my Honda NT1100, which I took to Europe and to Orkney, and was my Royal Enfield Classic 350, which I took to Shetland. Now, the NT is built for touring, gives you all the weather protection, got all the gizmos and gadgets on it you need. It's fully loaded up for travel now. I've got a tank bag, which was a revelation to me. It was really, really good. I don't like the look of a tank bag, but on a tour, it was when I went to Orkney, it was absolutely fabulous. Got a top box now that you've seen from a previous video, and that was just excellent as well. So the NT's fully kitted out for touring, absolutely perfect. Cruise control, and the bike just get about 60 miles to the gallon, or thereabouts. maybe a slightly more at times, depending on the roads that you're riding, but a really great time. But the revelation, I suppose, for me was the Royal Enfield Classic 350. I just so enjoyed taking it to Shetland. Now, I took mostly the back roads to get up to Aberdeen. Aberdeen's only just over an hour away from Dundee. However, I think it took about an hour 45 minutes to get up there, but I took the back roads until the last maybe 10, 15 miles, which I went on the dual carriageway, and the bike was fine. Sat at 60 miles an hour, nice and smooth, and it was just a revelation. I just loved being on that bike, and I would really like to take it to Europe, as I said previously, but we shall see. But both bikes were excellent. Both bikes were more than up to the trials and tribulations of touring, and regardless whether it was 1100cc engine or 350, both were fantastic, and I enjoyed riding both of them on it. So the bikes were outstanding, and I didn't have any problems with them. Tour prep. Now, this is something I didn't mention previously, but it was something raised by a comment on my lessons learned video, and this was about some of the softer side, the health stuff, what if it goes wrong type of thing. Now, I can only tell you what I did, but I took out health insurance. I think most people would. I think it cost me less than 20 quid and gave us a couple of £1 million of cover, and it covered the areas that I went to. I think I only got it for 14 days, so maybe that was why it was so cheap, but it was, I got the health insurance. I got the health travel card. It used to be the European travel card, where you get reciprocal health cover within certain countries, certainly within the EU, and possibly Switzerland as well. Anyway, I took that with me. I got that one, and I had breakdown cover on both the motorcycles from the manufacturers, and so that was the softer side of it for me in terms of tour prep and making sure that it was covered. Now, the only thing that wouldn't have been covered is if the bike was broken down in Europe, the NT, and Honda couldn't fix it. Getting the bike home might have been an interesting challenge, because they certainly say within their breakdown cover that ferries are not included, but I would have covered that, crossed that bridge as they were when I came to it. Now, I made a big thing about sat-nav in the last lessons learned, and I said that I was going to do certain things, and I did that. Now, granted, it was only on Orkney that I did this thing, but what I did was I selected a whole bunch of points of interest around the island, and at the moment when I decided to move on to the next point of interest, what I would do is just have a look at the map and say that's the one I want to go to and navigate to it, and I'm glad to say it worked quite well. In fact, it worked perfectly well, so I'm very pleased with that. The downside of the sat-nav is that it's got water ingress, both from Shetland and Orkney. I mean, I did get really soaked on both occasions at times, and the sat-nav, the TomTom 550 I think it is, got dampness inside it, so I've opened it up. It's sitting on my desk here. I'm going to reseal it with a sealant round the edges. I've opened it up, it's all dried out now, but of course I'll need to be careful about that, but I've got backup if something goes wrong. So in sat-nav and the points of interest was something that I saw as a very positive thing, and it worked very well for me on my Orkney trip. The last word I'd like to really add on sat-nav is just about embracing getting lost. It's going to happen. You're going to foreign lands, you're going to foreign areas that you don't know, roads that you've never been on before, and actually getting lost is part of the fun. When I reflect on it, I got lost maybe two, 3, 4 times. Not so much lost, but taking the wrong road, and it's all part of the fun, so embrace it for what it is, which is part of the journey. In Shetland, I needed my waterproofs on the last day, and they were 2-piece, top and bottom, and the water got up between the trousers and the jacket. The weather was pretty bad, right enough, and it also got down the back of my neck. So for my Orkney trip, I took a 1-piece waterproof, which worked very well, and I bought an Oxford neck gaiter, which was waterproof, and that worked really well. So all in all, it was a big improvement. However, Storm Babette was pretty horrendous, and there's not many sets of waterproof that keep you completely dry, so I was a bit damp by the time I got home, but given the severity of the storm, very happy with the changes that I made. Video recording is one of these things that I didn't really think about before I went away to Switzerland, before I did my European trip, and a lot of the travelling I didn't do very much commentary. However, one of the lessons learned was that if I am going to publish this stuff, I'm going to have to think of doing it in a different way. So I think you've started to see that when we did the Shetland, and it certainly, I carried that forward into Orkney. And the thing is about telling a story and doing it in a timeline, and that's helped with the editing, to be honest with you, and I think it's come out as a better video as a result. Now, I'm just learning about this stuff. I'm still evolving and doing it. I'm just an amateur, a novice, and so but it's getting better. So and I've got a full complement of cameras for next year, so hopefully I'll carry on doing it a little bit better each time. My final reflection is around the luggage and packing and various bits and pieces. Now, there's no doubt about it, the top box and tank bag have made a significant difference, certainly from a security point of view, and it's further enhanced the capabilities of the NT. But aside from that, an improvement on that, on the Royal Enfield Classic 350, it's soft luggage in the main. Lomo bags, large ones strapped to the back of the bike. Now, that worked very well, but once again, security is one of those things in the back of your mind because it's soft luggage. Now, that's a risk you're going to have to take if you take the Classic 350 with you. But other areas that I've learnt a lot from is packing and about the clothes that you take, and I think each of the trips have been refined after the Switzerland one. Certainly the Shetland and Orkney one was certainly better. The big area that I've reduced is in the computing and camera area. Now, I took a laptop with me, 15-inch one, power unit and a hard disk. I'm not going, and it's actually, I take quite a lot of padding for the laptop because I don't want to break it. So it goes in its own carry case, and that adds bulk and weight and all the rest of it. So what I'm going to do going forward, and I've got it working, is I've got a little Samsung tablet, I've got a USB adapter, and I've got a hard drive, and I can transfer videos from the cameras onto the hard drive using the Samsung tablet, and that has greatly reduced the demands on space and weight, which is quite significant, to be honest with you. Just summing up the luggage then is to reduce the things that I carry, the bulk of it, the weight, just to make it a bit easier on the bike and to use the storage more efficiently, which I think I have done, and a big improvement over Switzerland, I would say. That's my reflections and lessons learned from the 3 tours that I've done in 2023. I've had a fantastic time, fantastic experience, particularly going to Europe. Shetland and Orkney are something that I really wanted to do, and I've achieved that this year. I've had great weather and I've had rotten weather, but you just embrace it and enjoy riding the motorbike, which I really have. Still plenty of videos to come to keep us going over the dark, horrible winter nights, and it seems to be getting worse the winter rather than better. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hope you enjoy the ones that are to come. All I've got left to say is have a great Christmas, and we'll see you in the next video. This is Alex, and saying bye for now and have a Merry Christmas. Bye.